Vanakkam.
I'm Pollyanna. My pronouns are she, her, and I identify as queer.
My name is Bas. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm gay.
Growing up South Asian comes at the forefront because I'm a brown woman first before my sexual identity. So that comes with its own challenges growing up in Singapore when it comes to being a minority in this country and going through school and all that stuff. And my queerness, or I realized that I was queer, was later on in my life, in my mid-20s. And that was interesting in its own way, but it felt like it wasn't too big of a challenge because I was already challenged otherwise with race and gender, that the queerness was just part of who I was. So to me personally, I didn't feel that it was a challenge. But I think when I eventually spoke to my mom about it, saying that I'm dating someone and everything, her worry was always, oh, how are you going to navigate world? Because it's already so challenging. So this is an added challenge. But for me, it was like, no, this is just part of who I am. I just like, they can deal with, everyone else can deal with this. Mm-hmm. So that's what growing up in a nutshell felt like. How was your experience?
Growing up itself was a very interesting experience for me. I grew up in a family with majority women, mostly women in my household. So my mom has like 3 other sisters, and then my grandma, my great-grandmother was also around. I only have one uncle, like he's the brother, and then my dad. So those were the only male figure that I had. Mm-hmm. So predominantly I would be hanging out a lot more with my aunties, and obviously I would just sit down and watch the way that they would tie their saris whenever, you know, they're going to weddings and stuff. And I kind of found that I took interest in that, like in the way that they dolled themselves up, the flower that they had and all that. So I do not know what was that I was going through, but it just felt like they looked beautiful. And it was just me appreciating them. So along with that, you know, came going to school, and then, you know, just me bringing that feminine energy that I was growing up with at home to school, and then only to be ridiculed for that. And I felt like, wait, so am I doing this right or am I doing this wrong? So there's a lot of confusion, questioning about, am I normal? Is this right? I felt like it was right. It felt like it was normal for me. But then again, I had people like, you know, classmates and schoolmates telling me like, you're not normal. You're a bit different. You're a bit too feminine, you know? So, and from that came a bit of bullying as well. So then I had to experience a bit of a troubled past of, you know, basically just growing up being bullied and stuff. So I would say 50-50. I had like good experiences because I had like supportive friends, but I also had like people who were like, oh, yeah, bapa lah ni, you know, that kind of stuff. So just very confused.
Yeah, I guess growing up is so much, so you're so influenced by school, peers, trying to be in the in crowd, and I think that also plays in with being a minority, like just trying to fit in.
That's right.
But then you stick out like a sore thumb.
Exactly.
And, you know, so it's just trying to blend in as much as we can.
Correct.
I think that growing up for me was, I'll figure out. I didn't know I was Indian until I was in primary school. Because in kindergarten and everything, you go to kindergarten, you just hang out with kids. Everybody was friendly. Yeah. But you go to primary school and then suddenly you're like, what's your name in Tamil? I'm like, what is this language you're talking about? Like, what are you talking? Like, it didn't make any sense. Yeah. And then I think the differences happened in primary school and secondary school. But I think I've, like looking, like what you're sharing and what a lot of our community shares, I've had the privilege of not being bullied. Either that or I don't think I was the bully, you know, but I don't think, I mean, if being a prefect was being a bully then.
Oh, okay. I was a prefect too, but I was a nice prefect.
Yeah, so I was like, but it's a whole case of you have to be good in the system
Yes,
that you're
yes,
in.
that's right.
And you pay what, I'll coin the word, I've heard this thing called the black tax. So we pay the brown tax from a very young age. And the queerness came in when I was at work.
Yeah.
But there wasn't like, but then again, I'm just trying to pay my brown tax. Couldn't even figure out the queer tax yet.
Yeah.
So I guess for me, my queerness was just you accept it or whatever. Just because I was already older and more trying to get comfortable with yourself is already an issue as you're growing up.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Interesting you mentioned that because I have a very distinctive experience growing up, which was to, first of all, I felt like, I was not normal. And secondly, I was brown. I am brown. And I just felt like growing up in Singapore, the representation was not enough.
Yeah.
Until I watched TV. And every time I watched TV, I felt like, how I wish I would see someone like me on TV. And then, bingo. There was Rara show. And then I saw this guy who was funny, hilarious, and he said, my name is Kumar. And I was like, wow, I see someone like me on TV. And I was very proud of that. And I was like, okay, I'm not alone. So it's a lot of navigating through that with what the society has painted us to be and who we really are and the struggles that we have in order for us to be seen.
Yeah.
And be, to make known that we are also normal human beings too.
Yeah. I think it's true. I mean, now we have social media. Like when I was older, there was social media already. You have more visibility on what is going on outside of the country, outside of local media. But I think when my mom had the concerns, it came from when there wasn't social media. It was just the internet back then. Sounds so old.
Are we?
No. We've lived through we've lived through the transmitted times. We've seen everything.
Absolutely.
But maybe her exposure was that. It was society, it was what people were telling, and the stereotypes. And then TV doesn't help as well because they play into the stereotypes. So the fear of a parent for a child comes from that.
Yeah.
But then as she's gone through this journey with me, like she sees more people like us. And they're everywhere. They're normal. There's nothing like weird about them or nothing like scary or something to be fearful about. That now she's fine. Like, I guess that's your experience with your mom that you shared in your videos as well. So that evolution is because of visibility.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
When I told some old friends that, I was dating a girl, they were like, I didn't know you were like that. Like, I didn't see that. It came out of nowhere. And I'm just like, what do you mean? I just like someone. It's so hard for straight people to get people, like, to find someone they like and they like them back. So it's just like, to me, it was a case of, I met someone and I'm seeing them. So older friends that I knew for a bit longer, they were like, this is not something, I don't know how to navigate this. Whereas there was one particular friend and colleague at work back then, when I told her, she was like, I'm really happy for you. And I'm like, right, so this is a normal, like, that's the normal reaction. So to me, it didn't feel like dating a same-sex person was an issue, even back then. But when I saw reactions, then I'm like, you mean this is not part of it? Because prior to that, I was clueless about pride. I was clueless. I wouldn't say I was living under a rock, but I could be living under a rock. Because I didn't I see the LGBTQ people, but I just knew that they're just people. And that's how I grew up. They're just people. So when I was introduced to the world of the LGBTQ community through my partner and then friends that we were making, I'm like, you mean there's this entire community here? Like, there's a community, like, and they're actually they all like each other, and they're all friends, and they all get along mostly. And it was really nice because it's like, and then that comes into, on hindsight, it comes into the whole chosen family thing. So I think that challenge, the first challenge was actually telling people that I had a partner, and then realizing some people accept it and some people don't. And it goes back to, it's your choice. But I was happy where I was.
Yeah. Wonderful. That's very beautiful. Of an experience. For me, again, like, this question just brings me back to school because in school I was very loud, and I had I had a group of people who sort of accepted me. Like they know like Bas is this loud person and they enjoy just being around me because I just bring that much of energy. I was in drama and we were in choir, so we'll be walking down the corridor singing songs, Phantom of the Opera and all that. So we'll be belting out songs and all that, Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears and all that stuff. So I felt like, wow, okay, I'm myself.
Yes.
Until you do that to a point where now then you have another camp who comes to you and say, hey, Enala ni, why are you like, why are you like that now? And then I'm like, wait, what? Like there are people who don't like what I do.
Yeah.
So that was a challenge for me. The challenge was to be put down after feeling free, liberated, because your friends sort of like supporting you, like, oh my God, Bas, yes, do this, do that, and we'll do this with you. And then you have the other side of the camp where they're like, hey, this is wrong, you shouldn't be doing that. And obviously those are like your straight Indian guys especially. And then I felt like I had to go back to my shelf again. So it was a lot of navigating through that. So I felt like that was a big challenge for me. Just going in and out.
How old were you?
15?
Yeah.
14, 15. So it's like those
Very formative.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Oh.
those years, right? Right. And now, a lot of people might know this, might not know this. Of me going back into the shell, it sort of helped me a little bit. The reason is because I signed on in the army for 10 years. So I signed on when I was 17. So right after secondary school, my dad forced me to sign on.
Okay.
Yeah. So because I've had experience going into that shell, I remained in that shell. Yeah. So that was... And I started questioning because again, 17, 18, I was like sexuality. Like, wait, am I straight? Is this right? Is this wrong? And I'm like with men and in camp. And I'm like, wait, it's very confused. So another aspect of challenge as well. So the school part was different. And then the growing up part was different as well. And then also with my race, I think that was also another aspect of challenge, right? Like, oh, can an Indian man be gay? Like, have I seen someone like me around? Like, yes, I saw Kumar, but he's a performer, but I had no one to turn to say that, it's okay to be yourself. Yeah, so it was a lot of back and forth for me. So that was a huge challenge for me with sexuality and race as well. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Tough.
Tough, yeah.
It's very tough.
Yeah. With full force. I'm just like,
yeah. We're here. Like, what? Nayar terima. It's like, oh, not like that.
Yeah, no.
Okay, wait, sorry.
I don't go, no. But I think I would very honestly say because through work, growing up early years, maybe early 30s, until early 30s maybe, it was just trying to do my best at work and get whatever I needed to do and get the promotions and all the nonsense and just progress and do well in life. That I didn't, I found being brown and embracing it wasn't a priority, but it's just like try to blend in as much as you can. So even being queer was just blend in as much as you can. Just focus, just do your, just get successful and comfortable, and at some point we'll address everything from, anything else that matters.
Yeah.
But then at that point in time, I also changed jobs, and I mean, I was at one of my previous places, I was told down the grapevine that yes, my race was one of the reasons why I didn't get promoted.
Wow.
Yeah. Then I'm just like, what the fuck? Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm just like, okay, this is not a joke. This is still happening, and this was like 10, 15 years ago. So I was like, okay, no, I just need to prove myself. It wasn't their problem, it was still my problem. I needed to pay the tax more and then maybe get recognized and everything else. So when I joined my new firm, I realized the culture, because it was more international, I realized that the culture was more embracing of different views, differences, and different people. So for me, it took a while to adjust and come back, just slowly blossom and be a little sprout. it's almost like, okay, is it safe now? It's like, is it like, oh, it's really safe? Like, and just keep that support, and I think that allyship and friendship definitely helped me bloom. And like, all it took was a few very good senior people that became friends, and then it's like, it was a whole new world, kind of like, I'm here already now. But it's not in a very like grandiose sort of way, but it was funny on hindsight. What it felt like was how I was when I was in school, where I was doing, like, I felt my most authentic self when I was in primary school.
Okay.
And then 20 plus years later, I look at myself even now, I'm just like, actually, I think 7-year-old me will be very proud of who I am now because we are the same people. And that was who I was. And then society comes in and messes you up. And it takes you so much to just build out of it and come out of it on the other side. Yeah. So I think that helped me embrace the brown person I am. I had people at work that I looked up to that totally embraced their brownness. And I'm like, oh, you mean you can be this as well? Like, I'm like, oh, okay, let's go figure it out. Let's try and take Bharatanatyam classes. That didn't work out.
Did you? No? Oh, really?
Because
Let me know if you want to, because I might not try to.
Oh, so I tried it. I tried it for a year, and I was just like, this is not my jam.
Okay.
I mean, I like that it's all structured and everything, but then I ended up finding martial arts.
Right.
Indian martial arts, Kalari fighter.
Right.
Now that's more my jam.
Okay.
See, so excited. Now I need to
will
go back
take
eventually.
one step back of you.
No, I hurt myself more than I hurt other people.
Really?
So yes, but that's one of the things I want to go back to, because I really found my pride of being brown, and I love sports.
Yeah.
So that built the sports part of it, the culture part of it, the part where you don't mess with a strong brown woman. And like Kalari has this video of a lady in her 80s.
In a sari.
In a sari.
Yes.
She, with a sword and shield and everything. I'm like, I want to be like her.
Yeah.
And that's brown pride. And so that, to me, I was just like, that's how I'm going to embrace it.
Yeah.
And even then with work and the Pride Network and everything, I think it just went from strength to strength to strength. But because the people that I surrounded myself with were very strong allies and friends that supported me through that journey, that I'm here today. So it took me a while, but this is where I am. And I am very comfortable and proud to be who I am. And taking part in this documentary thing is also part of it. It's just like, maybe someone else would see it and resonate with it, or maybe they hear it on hindsight or something. I don't know.
Did you? Yeah. Was it hard for you to like sort of marry the two together, being brown and queer?
No. I mean, because like being brown, I guess, and growing up from a Hindu, Catholic, Christian family kind of combination, that what it is, like, it just felt that everyone is their own individual person. Yeah. And if you go back to my understanding of what Hinduism, which is very basic, but it's something my dad said, is you are who you are. Yeah. Like, everything else is defined by someone else. Yeah. So just be yourself, and there's no, just be your full self, and just embrace that. That already takes so much challenge anyway. So just be your authentic self. Yeah. And that was something he taught us from very young. Not in those exact words, but he was like, why do you care what other people think, you know? My mom also, why do you care what other people think? And I mean, they did say, like, don't marry a guy. So that I listened to. Okay. One thing. They didn't expect me to go this way. They they don't get married. Right. But it's one of those where I think it's just embracing and growing into it and feeling comfortable. I think with age comes that confidence of like, you know what? I have my own self to deal with. Everyone else can take a backseat.
It was a it was a little bit of a opposite for me compared to you, because I felt very different when I was a child. Different in the sense where everyone in my family would be listening to Tamil songs, but I'm like, Tamil song, I don't want to listen to Tamil song. I want to listen to Britney Spears. My mother would be watching Vasantham, and then I'll just snatch the remote from her.
Oh no, I did all that.
Oh really?
I did all that because you know how I was saying that, like, I didn't embrace anything. That's what I meant. Like, I was just like, I'm not brown. I'm just bending in as much as I can. But But I did exactly all of whatever you're doing.
Okay.
Street Boys.
Good. Wow. Right. Good. No, I mean,
Yes.
Then, yeah. Just,
The pride only came later on.
okay. Then it's the same. Then, yeah.
Yes.
I was gonna say, like, I felt very ashamed a little bit to be brown when I was in my, say, 10 to 18 years of age. And I made a choice to particularly not mix around with brown people, like classmates, schoolmates, and all that, because they were the one who were putting me down. Yeah, so they were the one who were like, "Hey, how can you be Indian and how can you be like this?" So the more aggressive they came onto me, the more regressive I went. I pulled back, and then of course my choice of sort of culture that I embraced was the Western culture. Like, I kind of feel like I want to speak this way. I want to listen to this kind of music, which also got sort of like flagged out, like, by brown people in the school. I'm like, hey, you are Indian, what? You're supposed to be like an Indian, you know? Like, and I'm like, wait, what's wrong? You know, what's wrong? And I'm not saying that I am not Indian. I am, you know, but I just felt like it was a choice for me at that time. But I felt like after going into the military, because I signed on, and then I have to say I was sort of mentored by a very good group of senior Indian warrant officers. Like, they took care of me. And sometimes I get to be myself around them, and they kind of found that funny. Right? But I also had to switch back. I'm like, hey, Encik, okay, no, anyway, you know, like that. But I also get to like, Lala, Encik. Then I'm like, hey, why you like that? Then I'm like, oh, Lala, Encik, sorry, you know. So, but somehow they sort of embraced me.
Okay.
And they were the one who taught me to be a little bit more cultured. Because, you know, in camp, we will have cultural events. Like, whenever it is Deepavali, we will have to organize events. It's our job to sort of educate the non-Indians what Deepavali is. So we did that a lot in camp.
Still do that every day.
We still do that, right? We still do that. But I learned a lot from that.
Okay.
Those episodes were very defining for me. And I also have to say, I give props to my sister as well, because my sister is she is an epitome of a cultured Tamil girl.
Okay.
Yeah, so to see her embrace her, Tamilhood, with her dress, with the way she carries herself, I learned so much from her, and it's more of me realizing that, in a way, I am a Tamil person. And there's nothing wrong, you know, embracing my own heritage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So came on the whole Western angle, and then I'm like, you know what? I can still speak like this, but I'm still a very proud Tamil person. Yeah. And I celebrate Deepavali now with so much of passion, and every Deepavali for me is a learning discovery. It's a discovery for me about what the festival is about, a discovery about what certain values that it brings and all that. And I kind of feel like at the age of 40, I'm still learning quite a fair bit about my culture.
I mean, it's one of the oldest cultures in the world. You're not going to learn it like overnight.
It is.
And yeah.
It is, right? So not so much of a challenge, but it's just me embracing it as I grow older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like finally accepting.
Yeah.
And not like going through the whole like, it just sounded like when you were sharing earlier, right? What it felt like was just like, okay, be myself, don't be myself, be myself, don't be myself. It's so exhausting.
Correct, very.
I'm like, how you code switch until like that? Like,
I had to.
Yeah.
I had to.
Oh man, yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
I strongly feel try and be proud of who you are and where you come from, because that is something no one can take away from you. And fortunately or unfortunately, it's also something that you can never remove from yourself. You can never erase that part of you. So learn to embrace that, and it can get uncomfortable. But I think it's a journey of embrace and acceptance. So don't shy away from it. The sooner you realize, don't shy away from who you are, because if the world's going to judge you for what you look like anyway. So just roll with it and embrace it.
I guess for me, I'm gonna tell the younger South Asians to take your time. Take your time to go on this road of discovery. Because because that's what I did, right? And I feel like even in my 40s now, and I'm still learning about my culture. I'm still learning about the traditions that we go through. I mean, all this will come with life experiences. If I can sidetrack a little bit, for example, I had my great-grandmother who passed on, and I didn't know that for a Hindu funeral, there's so much meaning behind that. And all that happened in my 30s, and you don't deliberately want to learn about this, but it happens as you grow. So the road to that discovery happens as you age, and take it with a stride as you grow.
Yeah, I think don't be afraid to question.
Oh yes.
I think the learning comes with the questioning and understanding it from your, how you understand it.
That's right.
So yeah.
Yeah.
If someone were to make a documentary about my story, the title would be Chosen Family. Because yes, I have my family, I have the support of my immediate family, but where I thrived and really truly became myself and arrived and be confident and be the person that I am today is because of my chosen family, my partner, my the friends that we are surrounded with, which are massive. They are from the community, colleagues that became friends who are part of this chosen family, as well as people that I rely on. So I think mine would be chosen family, and last but not least, the animals that we have, the pets that we have, they make me a better person, and so much of our chosen family have pets as well. So I think it's all encompassing. So I think chosen family with my title.
That's very nice. Very nice. Yeah. If my life was depicted into a documentary, I think the title of my documentary will be Kotu Prata.
Why?
Yeah. Because I was thinking about that when you were actually talking. Because Kotu Prata is savory, and in order for you to achieve that level of pieces of delicacy in front of you, it has got to go through quite a fair bit of pounding. My life was like that. Yeah.
Damn.
But end of the day, it comes out into this beautiful savory dish in front of you, and you eat it, and I guess that's what life is for me, and I think that dish represents my life, and it's South Asian as well, so it's Kotu Prata.
Nice. Now I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching.
And please share this with your family and your friends, and share the love. Happy
Pride.
Pride.